If you don't fix this now, it's just going to keep on getting worse. And not even in a dramatic Hollywood blockbuster type way, not explosively, just quietly. And that's what actually makes it so dangerous, because from the outside looking in, you look fine. You earn good money, you function, you train sometimes, and people think that you're disciplined. But let's cut the nonsense and say it how it is. You know you're operating way below your standards. You just know it. That low-level frustration that you carry around with you all the time. That irritation when you see what you could be. That's not emotion. That's misalignment. And if you don't address it, it just keeps on compounding on itself, bit by bit by bit by bit. So let me talk directly to you. You don't wake up and just blow your life up in a dramatic way. You let it break down bit by bit by bit. You snooze that alarm. You skip the session. You open your phone before you open your mind, and you avoid the income generating tasks and do admin instead. And then scroll at night when you said you wouldn't. It's all those little small negotiations that add up over time, repeated. That's how self-respect breaks down and eventually dies. Not in one big magical moment, but in all those quiet compromises. Because you think that you're busy because you're not effective. You think you're stressed when in reality you're divided, and you think that you need more time. You think you need more structure, when in reality, you've just got a soft body, reactive mind, and a diluted business, and that combination will never create power. It just creates noise. And noise actually feels productive until you realise you're not actually progressing. You're just busy and stressed out and overwhelmed. So let me make this uncomfortable for a second. If nothing changes, here's what happens. You earn more, but then your body gets slightly softer. You gain more responsibility and more things to do, but your mind just keeps on getting more reactive. So you decide to network and meet more people, but then your discipline starts getting weaker and weaker, and nothing collapses. You just become a diluted version of yourself. And that's way worse than failure ever could be, because you'll never be forced to confront it head on and actually make that change. You'll just slowly normalise operating at 40, 50, maybe 60% of what you could be doing. And here's the part that you don't want to admit. You already feel it. That subtle disappointment when you look in the mirror, when you've got that anxious feeling in your chest, or the frustration when you know you've avoided something that would move your life forward in a meaningful way. And that internal voice that says, this is not the level that I could be operating at. So you try to drown it out any way possible, with work, with scrolling, with drinking, with drugs, with busyness, with planning. But it's still there, because the misalignment doesn't go away until you fix it. It just keeps compounding on itself. Let me reiterate, you're not lazy. You're just divided. And that division creates anxiety and overwhelm, not panic, not breakdown, just constant low-level tension, because your actions don't match your ambition. Because you say that you're driven, but your daily behaviour says to you that you negotiate, and you say that you want more. But then you avoid the discomfort that would actually create more in your life, doing more, being more, having more. And then you say you're disciplined, but only when it's convenient or when it's easy. And that gap is eating you alive, else you wouldn't have clicked on this video today. And if you don't close that gap, it just gets wider and wider and wider. But the algorithm blessed you with this video today. So while I've got you, let's be brutally honest. Ask yourself, if your current habits continued for the next 3 years, where are you going to end up? Would you be slightly more successful, slightly less sharp, slightly more tired, slightly more reactive, still fine, still doing well, but still nowhere near your real potential? And is that acceptable to you? You're not that guy, because that is the trajectory you're on right now. It's not failure, but it's that slow drift. And I know you're capable of more. Body, being, and business. They're the 3 Bs. And if they're not aligned, then your ceiling, your potential's capped. Because you can't beat fragmentation, and you can't outwork inconsistency, and you cannot outplan weak execution. Because at some point, your internal structure determines your external growth. And right now, your structure is conditional, mood-based, environment-based, pressure-based, and that's fragile. And fragile men eventually break, because life throws shit at all of us. You don't need more content, more podcasts. You don't need more knowledge. You need to stop negotiating with yourself. Daily physical non-negotiables, daily mental non-negotiables for your being, and daily revenue income generating activities, money. Not when you're motivated, not when it's convenient, but daily. And that's alignment. And without it, you're just going to continue to feel slightly off, no matter how much you do. And that feeling will just get heavier and heavier with the more stress that you feel. Because this isn't about hype or motivation. It's about your trajectory. You either compound in alignment or you compound in misalignment. There is no neutral middle ground, and every skipped standard compounds. Every kept promise compounds forward, and you know which side that you've been leaning towards lately. This video wouldn't have found you today if that wasn't the case. So here's the question that you can't avoid. If you don't make a change now, then when is it going to be? When your body forces you to change? When your business plateaus? When your confidence collapses? When your wife leaves you? Or are you going to fix it while you've still got leverage, while you've still got pieces on the board in this game called life? Because right now, you've still got leverage. You're capable, you're aware, but awareness without the action needed will always turn into regret. And if this video is making you uncomfortable, then good. Maybe this is what you need to hear. It's supposed to make you feel uncomfortable. And if you want the structure that eliminates that fragmentation across body, being and business, click the link in the description and get a free copy of the Alignment Blueprint, the system that I give to all my private clients to get them aligned across body, being and business, should I say. Otherwise, you'll drift. And drifting into mediocrity while knowing you're capable of more, that is a slow, quiet regret that becomes harder and harder to live with. You've already been feeling the beginning of it, and you know it's building day by day, week by week. But the question is whether you're going to keep ignoring it or finally deal with it. Only you can decide that. So I'll see you in the next video, but don't bother clicking on the next video if you're not going to get your free copy of the Alignment Blueprint. The link's in the description. And if you need proof it works, even though it's free, so what have you got to lose? Go to my website and look at all the testimonials and the client spotlights of the men that came before you, got aligned across body, being and business, and now their life all moves forward together. And they feel that inner peace, that excitement and that momentum. You can hear by the passion in my voice. I want you to experience that. Let's go.